The dignitaries are seated, the foreign diplomats are in place, the press corps make their final checks. The band leader gets his cue. And seconds later, from a side door, the president, prime minister, heads of cabinet, members of parliament, and other high-ranking government officials file in. This is a big moment for Zimbabwe. The African nation is launching a 3-month outreach to get the views of ordinary Zimbabwean citizens on the writing of a new constitution. Sitting in the audience is Alex Chisango. He's a little nervous. This is also a big day for him. He takes one final look at his notes. Moments later, he's on stage delivering the opening prayer, standing next to the president and prime minister.
We pray, Lord, that out of that product, the sons and the daughters of Zimbabwe will have a reason to praise and to glorify your name.
Alex Chisango is on a mission to mobilize Zimbabwean Christians to get involved in the drafting of the country's constitution.
This is really one of the greatest windows of opportunity.
Chisango is chairman of the African Center for Law and Justice, an international branch of the American Center for Law and Justice. Recently, a team from America joined Chisango in Zimbabwe to discuss the constitution with top government officials.
This unity government did open the window for us and groups like the ACLJ to be here, to be involved in the constitution process.
But writing a new constitution is not going to be easy. Zimbabwe has had its share of economic and political upheaval. The economy is stabilizing after years of rampant inflation, but unemployment remains at a staggering 90%. And the two political parties that share power in government are often at odds with each other, resulting in a nation that's deeply divided. So Chisango is teaming up with local church leaders to lay the foundation for what he says is much needed healing and reconciliation in Zimbabwe.
My message is the message that Christ, gave to the church when he said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God.
Shengi Munyeza is one of those peacemakers. He's a successful Christian businessman who owns numerous hotel chains throughout Africa. He regularly networks with other businessmen and women, sharing about the power of forgiveness.
That's where the faith comes in to bring God's healing upon a nation.
The latest statistics show that close to 80% of those in this country call themselves Christians. And so those who are leading the reconciliation and healing efforts are hoping to use those statistics to help rebuild this nation.
We are ultimately the answer.
A sentiment echoed by Zimbabwe's prime minister during a meeting with both the American and African Centers for Law and Justice.
You can't have healing without the church playing a very moral role, a leading role. I think it will be a misplacement of priorities to play the church as a political organization rather than as a spiritual organization.
To improve the country's image, the African Center for Law and Justice is sponsoring a country-wide cleanup campaign to rid the streets of trash. On a recent Saturday morning, dozens of local churches, aid groups, and government agencies joined in the initiative. Joshua Chiwenda coordinated the cleanup effort. He's been talking with churches about doing more for the rebuilding of Zimbabwe.
Christianity is not just people going to church, but it is a way of life which must be seen and must be a reflection of their daily practices.
As Zimbabwe prepares to write a new constitution, Chisango and others are busy laying the spiritual foundations for what they hope will one day be a model nation of reconciliation and healing.
We believe that Zimbabwe ultimately will be a nation that will forgive.
George Thomas, CBN News, Harare, Zimbabwe.